Thanks for stopping by the My Reader Minutes. To all who are new here, welcome. To all who have joined me on my journey, thank you so much. Today I want to talk about Damon Dash. Damon Dash had an interview a couple days ago. I think it was either yesterday or the day before on the Breakfast Club. And people have had, of course, their comments about stuff he was saying. And where he was very offensive, he said a lot of crazy stuff. From my perspective, now, first, before I get started, everything that I say on this channel is alleged in my opinion and done for entertainment purposes only. Okay. Let's just say when Dame walked in the room or when Dame entered the room, he already had a chip on his shoulder about the Breakfast Club. That was my take. I feel like he had something to prove. Okay. First thing when he comes in, he's handing out vinyl records. Yes. Vinyl records from his artists that he, I guess, is promoting. And then he had children's books that I want to say his daughter wrote. Dexy or Dexo goes to the space or goes to the sea or goes somewhere. He has two books. And he's coming in like he's standing on business, like he's a businessman, right? Because out in the street or what's been, advertised is that he's $20 million in debt with the IRS and, he's broke. Well, rich people broke ain't poor people broke. Okay. Um, so where he made some sense on some things, which was very little, like I say, maybe 5% of the interview, he might have made a little sense. But the other 95%, he was all over the place. He was being very rude. He for whatever reason, I felt like he was on the defensive. And he was not very happy with the Breakfast Club because whatever they've reported on him in the past, I mean, he basically said, I heard what y'all say about me. And, and he made it seem like because they do hot topics like Wendy Williams, that they were not masculine. Men don't talk like that if they're masculine. And so he didn't go too hard on DJ Envy because Envy wasn't feeding it. But Charlemagne, who was being Charlemagne, was poking the bear. And he did not let up from being Charlemagne. But he was like, had these boundaries he wanted to set. First and foremost, in the interview, talking about when I say something, don't interrupt me. It triggers me if you interrupt me. Just let me get my thoughts out. And so, of course, whenever he went to go say something, if they'd ask him a question and he really wasn't answering the question and they try to reel him back in, he said, you interrupted me. Let me finish my thought. See, you interrupted me. See, and then, then it got to be like a pissing contest between him and Charlemagne. So it was like, you know what? You're gay or you're not masculine. You're not a good representation of a masculine black man. I don't want, he said, I don't want white people to think that's how we act with you. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, whoa, he went there. Yes, it should matter what nationality is saying what. We shouldn't care what anybody thinks. One person, regardless of how they act, doesn't represent the whole entire group of people. I don't care how crazy and outlandish Charlemagne can be. He don't represent me. Okay? They're not going to look at him and say, oh, that's how all of them act. And he made that point. He said, I'm afraid that white people are looking and saying, white people, Asian people, Mexican people, it doesn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? Why white people? Why are you so hung up on white people? That's where I was at with it. Like what? Okay. Anyway. First of all, you shouldn't want anybody to think we act like that. Second of all, one person don't represent the whole. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm also at with it. So then they go back and forth. Charlemagne, of course, is being Charlemagne and calling him broke, and it's just you're just bothered because you're being called broke and blah 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 blah. Not letting up. And many times, Damon was acting like he was gonna get up and leave, and then he turn right back around and then sit back down and then start talking again. He was just like all over the place. All over the place. Then he made a comment. He was like, "Yeah, y'all talking so confidently. Y'all don't even know what's going on. Because y'all are dumb." Then they were dumb. They were not intelligent because they didn't know anything about being a business person because they all had sound like my boy Funky. They all had 9 to 5s. And they've been doing it for 20 years. And they're gonna have to stay there for 30 years. He said he can get up at any time and he don't have to worry about punching a clock. And and then he was then he was going back and forth, but he's like trying to be philosophical. Like, what do y'all consider rich? Like, what if do you think this person is more rich if they got this or this or that? Posing these insane questions to them. If you're a billionaire and you have $180 million loan, who has more money? Well, Envy said, well, the billionaire is still a billionaire. What do you mean? He do. He was like, well, I didn't say billionaire. He said, well, you did say billionaire. He was just going back and forth. A lot of what Damon Dash is going through is just that I feel like he's humiliated in the press because of everything that's going on with his finances and things like that. And the fact that he felt like he needed to come on the Breakfast Club to clear the air and spin the narrative to what he wanted to spin. Well, it didn't work for this. It didn't work. But he was making it seem like he's got all these projects. He's the chairman of Revolts. He's got a movie coming out called Paid in Full. It's called My Paid in Full. First it was just called Paid in Full. Then at the end of the interviews, it was called My Paid in Full. And for whatever reason, he's got something against 50 Cent and Cameron. And he's got a project coming out called Power. And so Envy even said, like, well, is your power? It's not the same as is 50 Cent power. He's like, no. He said 50 don't own Power. He worked for them people. Okay. It was just like he had all this hostility. And then he said something about, he said, yeah, y'all don't say nothing about Jay-Z. Y'all never said not one bad thing about Jay-Z. He said, I think men that talk about other men are gay. They're just not masculine. Everything was gay. And then he kept hurling those remarks towards Charlemagne like being gay was an insult. And Charlemagne asked him, he said, well, you got something against gay people? So his thing was, no, I just don't like people that are gay that don't admit that they are, or something to that effect. And I felt like it was rude of him to keep calling him gay. If he was gay and didn't want to be out, it ain't your business to call him out. I feel like that was rude. You know? He was just, to me, it looks like an old, washed up street dude, regardless of whatever businesses he's had. Because he says, oh, I've had, you know, real lucrative companies and I've sold them. Like he said, he built up Rachel Roy, is that his ex-wife's name? He built up her company and gave it to her, and whatever. He built up Rockaware, whatever, and then whatever, let that go. He's done all these companies. Yeah, he the one holding the bag of $20 million tax bill. He ain't never paid no taxes on none of them companies. But why? You got the tax bill. Ain't nobody else got that kind of money, that kind of tax bill. So then he said, $20 million. I think he filed bankruptcy. But filing bankruptcy does not get you out of paying a $20 million out of a tax bill, period. I thought taxes you still had to pay. I don't know. Anywho, he was trying to say that they weren't educated and they needed to bring up a real, a tax attorney in there and get the real deal and stop talking so confidently about things that they don't know anything about. So he was kind of like reading them the riot act. And, then he brought up his buddy, because he said he kept calling him an OG, and that's who he had learned from. And he came up and said, his um few words or whatever. He lost his wife, and different things that I guess he does. He has a cookout every year. People come, and he I don't know. Anywho, he was trying to tell a story, and Damon the whole time after he told him to come up, he kept coming in, interrupting, leaning over. He said, "Can I talk about this one? Can I talk about this one?" He was like, "Go ahead." And I'm like, "Well, you wanted the man to get up and talk, but you still coming up here to the mic, over talking him, cutting him off." And Damon was just all over. He's just acting like an old man. He acts like an old man. Now, I'm not justifying his rudeness because he's old, because old people say little rude stuff. I'm not justifying him being rude. That doesn't justify him being rude. I feel like he's just aged, and that's what we're seeing. And then Charlamagne kept, teasing about his teeth, and he was like, "Yeah, I bet you my teeth cost more than yours." He said, "Charlamagne, well, I guess my teeth, bet you my teeth are realer than yours." But then he said he wouldn't put diamonds in his dentures. Like, really, dude? Like, what? He said they got diamonds in your dentures? What are you doing? Anyway, so then he said something about, I bet you my house is bigger than yours. It was like a pissing contest. Like, I have to prove that I'm not broke and I'm still all about business. So here are these vinyl records. Hopefully you have a turntable. And here are these books that my daughter wrote or whatever. I'm still all about business. And I got a couple of projects. And you're gonna see um my TV show on Revolt called Bosses and Losses or something like that. And I'm the chairman of Revolt. And this is really a diss record to 50. And I mean, he was just like over the place. All over the place, and it was horrible. Then he was just talking about different people that he was suing. He said he had to put a lawsuit out there or a file back for people could stop suing him. And yeah, he sounds bitter. He sounds bitter. He sounds like he's got like a lot of vendettas to get over. And poor Charlemagne, he just kept, going. He said, "You're gay. You're gay. I don't care what another woman says. I don't care what a woman says. I don't care what you gotta say, because you're just gay." Charles, I'm not gay. He said you are. It was just weird. It was just weird. And it's like he kept saying it over and over and over again. You're gay, you're gay, you're gay. I'm like, okay, he's gay. Okay. Damn. If he ain't gay, I guess you call him gay a million times makes him gay. So guess what? He's gay. Yeah, I was gonna play a little bit, but I don't even want to hear it anymore because it was so ignorant. It was so ignorant. But yeah. Tell me what you thought about it. Did you listen to it? Poor Damon. Poor Damon. Anyway, y'all, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell me what you think. I want to say I'm going to come back a little later. I know that Cameron came to the internet streets and 50 must have responded to Damon too, based on what he was saying on the Breakfast Club. And I think Claudia Jordan came back and said something too, because he did mention something about Claudia. Let me say this real quick. He said something about a movie that he was producing or directing, and Claudia had a part in it. And I can't remember what part she played, but evidently it was something actual. And he said he didn't want to talk nasty to her. I think because he was the person that was going to be intimate with her, I want to say, but he didn't want to be the one to talk nasty to her. So he gave her a PORN tape or whatever to look, and then evidently she said that that was inappropriate. Like she looked at that as some type of actual harassment. And he said, I gave her the tape because I didn't want to talk to her that way. Well, why didn't you ask her? Like, do you need something like this to put you in the mood? Because I don't want to talk to you like that. That's what somebody would say if that was indeed your intent. I mean, and then that way she couldn't have thought it was sexual harassment because you asked. I don't know. Anyway. So yeah, it was that, and it was just a mess. But anyway, so with that being said, let's take a listen to Claudia, her response to after she heard what Damon had said about her in this interview. Check this out. Let's listen.
Following up with notifications that Dame Dash once again has my name in his mouth when he should be having Polident tight grip in his mouth, instead holding those cheap ass dentures in place instead of worrying about me. Why do you keep trying to bring me into your mess? You've been sued by everybody, you've lost every single lawsuit, and you owe the government all this money, yet you keep trying to bring me into your bullshit. I have been quiet. On the set of Dear Frank, you were wildly inappropriate. You did shit on that set that should have shut it down, okay? Very inappropriate. The way you were carrying on with the women on set, and what you did to me during the one scene was fucked up. I have not embarrassed you yet because everybody else has done that job for me, and including yourself. But if you want to keep running your mouth, then I'm going to tell my side. You was a pervert on set. You were disgusting. The things you did with that porn tape and what you tried to do to get me ready for a scene with you while your shunt was showing out of your chest and you thought you was hot, you were not. You were a fat mess. And yes, I understand you see me everywhere, so and you're nowhere except pretending to own ranches that you don't own and borrowing money from people. And you see people that are just flourishing without you, and like you do with Jay-Z, you're just sitting there jealous of everybody else, counting everybody else's money. So now you want to include me in your lawsuit. Bring it on. You lost every other suit that my lawyer Chris Brown has gone up against you against. You've lost everything. You don't pay rent. You all the contracts. You've been sued by everybody and lost because you steal property from people. You found guilty of that, okay? From women. You rent expensive homes to give the image of you being wealthy, and then you default and don't pay your rent. And you've been sued by them, and you've lost those cases too. So why is my name in your mouth? I didn't want my body in your mouth. I sure don't want my name in your mouth. So keep all of us out of your mouth and out of your thoughts, okay? I'm so sick and tired of your shit. You are the reason for your failure. And Dame, you talk so much shit about people being culture vultures, stealing from the culture and not down with black people, and they working for the white man, all while you parade a woman around that is a white woman and you pretend to be that she's Puerto Rican, that you think, oh, it's different, right, with me. And you talk so much shit about everybody else. Not that there's anything wrong with dating a white woman or a Puerto Rican woman, but you go out of your way to pretend that she's not what she is, okay? In my opinion. And I think that's super whack, but that just shows your character. Your character. Your own family don't with you because of what you do and how you behave. You know, I felt bad for you when we were filming because I was like, damn, maybe he got a raw deal. Maybe like, you know, he is this victim that he claims to be. But I see now from working with you one time and never again that all your failures are your own. It's your own doing. You caused all of the bad shit that has happened to you. You're not a victim. Your ego in your mouth. You still think it's 2003 and it's the Big Pimpin' video when you can spray liquor on women and like it's cute. It was never cute. It never gave cute. It cut me off at the best part. Damn, you are a that's why people don't fuck with you. You're a boy. You sit there and talk big game. I'm a boss. I'm a boss. I'm a boss. When you have to tell everybody how much of a boss you are, you're not. When you have to tell everybody how great you are, you're not. When you have to tell everybody how amazing you are, you're not. You're not. And I'm sorry for you. You were on a trajectory to be in big places and big spaces, but you fucked up with your mouth and your arrogant, annoying attitude. All right? I don't know why you think everyone's done you wrong. Are you not guilty in any of this? Like, you've done nothing wrong to put yourself in position? The way you move, like, I got to see firsthand. And you didn't put one penny up for that movie, for Dear Frank. It was called The List at first. And you tried to go sell it behind our backs. You didn't own it, Dame. You didn't own it. Get over it. Move on. And shut the fuck up. Keep thinking about more things. You have so many lawsuits where you've been found guilty of defamation. And I didn't jump on that bandwagon. I could have because you was out there dragging my name. I'm like, what did I do to you besides say no? What did I do to you for not want to spend the night at your house after filming? What did I do to you? Nothing. Nothing. I did not think you needed to be part of the project. I didn't think your name brought any value, but it was a means to an end to get Kanye West involved in the project. That's all. The only reason you were given a vanity credit, Dame. I was there from day one with the producer before you even brought on. And you're mad that I testified about the truth on the stand? I gave sworn testimony. It was all true. And if I didn't, you could have tried to get me for perjury and you did not. Like I tell motherfuckers that have problems with me, if I defamed you or lied on you, file a lawsuit, bitch. File a lawsuit. Because I stand by what I say, because I don't lie, because I have a bad memory, so I have to tell the truth. Someone just sent me the clip where Dame Dash says on the Breakfast Club that he has video of me saying that he is the best director ever.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Really. Dame Dash, I have a proposition for you. I know money's tight. And I'm not rich either. I'm just trying to make it out here in this world. If you can produce the video of me saying that you're the best director I've ever worked with, I will pay for your teeth to get fixed. That's an offer you can't refuse, right? If you can find said video of me telling you you're the best director I've ever worked with, I'm gonna fix your mouth up. And they'll never slip out again.
So, Damon, it's not a good look, buddy. Everybody's coming for your throat. So, I don't know why you came on the Breakfast Club. I guess to promote your artist for the diss track that you put on 50 and for the books. I hope it was worth it. Anyway, and your movies. Forgot, yeah, and your Revolt TV show. And all this amazing things that he's doing. Anyway, there's that. That was a lot. Y'all, tell me what you think. Let's get down in the comments and talk about it. Like, share, and subscribe. Everyone be blessed. Peace.